All right, let's just jump right in. Nvidia, as you know, is on top of the world. I mean, they're the multi-trillion-dollar giant that's basically powering this entire AI revolution. But what happens when a company that big, that powerful, gets squeezed? And not just from one side, but from two incredibly powerful opposing directions, all at the same time. Well, that's what we're talking about today. That is Nvidia's trillion-dollar dilemma. And if you listen to Nvidia CEO Jensen Huang, the confidence is just off the charts. He's talking about a scale of business that's almost impossible to wrap your head around. And he's saying, yeah, we can do it. We've got the supply chain. But, under all that confidence, the ground is definitely shifting. So, to really get what this squeeze is all about, first you have to appreciate the throne Nvidia is sitting on. This isn't just about a company that makes computer chips anymore. No. Nvidia has become the fundamental platform, the literal foundation for the entire global AI industry. And that dominance, well, it can be summed up in one absolutely staggering number. A market cap that has blown past 4 and is knocking on the door of $5 trillion. Think about that. It's not just a number on a stock ticker, it's the market saying just how essential this company is to our future. And that's where their sense of invincibility comes from. And this is where we get to the core of the story. This incredible empire is getting squeezed hard. From one direction, you have the brutal, unforgiving logic of the market, and from the other, you have the high-stakes geopolitical demands of the state. So, let's start with the market side of things. Because for all of Nvidia's power, there's a pretty simple economic reality that threatens the wild profitability that's holding up that huge valuation. And it all boils down to one thing: margin. Now take a look at this, because this is what's so fascinating. When you actually break down the physical cost of building one of their new Blackwell GPUs, NVIDIA's own contribution, their brilliant design and software, is only about 14% of the cost. Just 14%. Yet, they capture over 75% of the final selling price. That massive gap, well, that's both their genius and their single greatest vulnerability. So how does that gap get squeezed from below? Well, meet their most critical supplier, TSMC. They're in what economists call a bilateral monopoly. Basically, if NVIDIA wants the best chips, they have to go to TSMC. And that gives TSMC incredible power. Right now, they only take about 3 or 4% of the GPU's final price, which is kind of a holdover from the old days when these were just for gaming. But who's to say they won't wake up one day and demand a much, much bigger slice of the pie? And then the margin gets squeezed from above. And this right here perfectly illustrates the problem. NVIDIA's biggest customers, we're talking Google, Amazon, Microsoft, are also turning into their biggest competitors. They're all pouring billions into designing their own AI chips, like Google's new TPU, which is right there with NVIDIA's best on some key stats. They don't even have to beat NVIDIA. They just need to be good enough to give them leverage and say, hey, Jensen, we need a better price. Okay, so that's the market pressure. But now we have to talk about the second part of the squeeze. And honestly, this one's even more dramatic. This isn't about profits and margins. This is about national security. The US government is starting to see NVIDIA's best chips as a strategic asset, one that has to be controlled. Which leads us to the absolute heart of the geopolitical problem. It's a question that everyone in Washington and Silicon Valley is fighting over right now. Should America let its most powerful, most advanced technology be sold to its biggest geopolitical rival, China? And listen, the argument for restricting these chips is pretty terrifying. Take this example. A research lab built an AI model that was so good at finding software vulnerabilities, basically creating cyber weapons, that they decided it was too dangerous to ever release to the public. The fear is simple, right? What happens when an adversary uses these chips to build that, or something even more powerful? So this all sets up this incredible, high-stakes debate between two completely different worldviews, two clashing strategies on how you actually stay ahead in the age of AI. And Jensen Huang's response is a direct challenge to the whole idea of restriction. He's basically saying, look, China already has the key ingredients. They have tons of energy, a huge domestic chip industry, and, this is the big one, half of the world's AI researchers. Trying to cut them off isn't just going to fail, he argues, it's going to backfire. So let's just lay these two arguments out side by side, because this is really the whole game. The national security logic says, to win, you hoard your best tech. You limit your rivals' access and slow them down. But Jensen's market leadership argument says the exact opposite. To win, you have to dominate the entire global ecosystem.
If you cut China off, you just force them to build their own parallel system, a completely non-American tech stack that could one day become a true rival.
And this right here, this is what keeps Jensen Huang up at night. He puts it very, very bluntly. His biggest fear is that U.S. policy, while trying to protect America, will accidentally create the very thing it's trying to prevent, a world where the next great AI model is built not on Nvidia, but on a rival tech stack from a company like Huawei, an ecosystem totally free of American influence. So when you put all of this together, you really start to see the true nature of this thing. Nvidia is walking a tightrope, being pulled in totally opposite directions by the forces of business and the forces of geopolitics. I mean, that squeeze is coming from all sides. On the market front, you've got powerful suppliers below and powerful customer competitors above, both putting pressure on those incredible margins. And on the geopolitical front, it's trapped between its own government security roles and the need to compete in the world's second biggest market. And here's the kicker. Its strategy for winning in business, total global dominance, is in direct conflict with the government's strategy for national security. So this whole thing leaves us with a question that's way, way bigger than just Nvidia. Their dilemma is really our dilemma. In this new era of AI, what is the true source of technological power? Is it keeping your best ideas locked up, or is it making your platform so indispensable that the entire world has to use it? The answer to that question is probably going to define who leads the 21st century.